Welcome back. The last time we were here, we looked at videos and how to do them. Today, we want to move one step forward and advance our knowledge. So, if you look at any page or any website that you will see online, you notice that almost all of them have a form somewhere. So it looks like forms are very important. So like this on my blog, I have a form on the contact us page. So if you need to write an email to me and maybe you do not have my email address, you can just come to this form and fill it and submit, and it is going to send this email to me. Now, this is a form, and this is what I want us to look at today. How do you add forms in your HTML? Perfect. So the first thing that you need to do is to add a form tag. But before we do that, let me just add a title here and say these are forms. Okay, so when I go back to my browser and reload it, I am going to see forms down here. All right, perfect. So now the next thing is to just do a form and close it. Note that a form is not a self-closing tag. You need to close the form. All right, there are two things that the form takes. The first one is action and the second one is method. Now the action means this is where I want to submit the form once I click on the submit button. So every form, again, you will notice that every form has a button at the end of it, which means submit. Now it must not be a button. You can have something like maybe the same input sends or submits. Maybe you click on enter and it sends. A good example is on Facebook. If you look at Facebook, where you write what you are thinking, it's telling you what's on your mind. Karani, here, you see, we don't have a submit button. But when I type something here, well, it is actually down here, post, it has come. But on some websites, we don't have it at all. Let's see what we have on LinkedIn, all right? I'm not sure, but let me just check whether LinkedIn has that. I type here, this, yeah, I think it also has a post button down here. But well, even if it has, if you just type and click on enter, it is going to send that text or whatever you have typed there. It's going to submit it to the URL that you have specified here, or to the path that you have specified here. So what we are saying here is that the action tells the browser where to send the data in this form once you've submitted. The method means how do you want to handle the data here. Methods, we can have post or we can have get. They are different, and we are going to be exploring that when we get to that point. At this time, we do not need to check that, but I'm going to be explaining that to you when we get to checking and sending this data to the backend using other technologies like PHP, like Python, and stuff like that. So then let's go back to our form. You can see here we have the name, and then we have a place to put in our name. Okay, so we have something that looks like a label, and then something where we can actually put in our name down here. Nice. How do we do that? So here we can call this full name, and this is actually a label. So we can delete this and do label, and then we close the label after we have put our text. So label, full name. So if we save this and we refresh our page now, we are supposed to see our full name, but we do not have anywhere to put in our name yet. All right? Okay, so how do we add that then? We add it using input type equals text. Okay, how did I know it is text? And this one is self-closing tag. So I told you again, how you know that something is a self-closing tag. You can just remove that and try to close it. Well, you see this form, I have an input here. I'm trying to close it here, and it is closing my form. I don't want my form to close there because I have other things to do. So this one automatically becomes a self-closing tag, so close it like that. All right, so refresh, and I have my name and a place to type my name. Awesome, looks good so far. The next thing we want to add is, let me close this. The next thing we want to add now is maybe our email. So again, we are going to add a label for our email, and then I do that, and then here we're going to have an input type, and this one I'm going to say it's an email. All right, so again, remember that is self-closing. Now notice that here I've said that the type here is email, it's not text. Well, if I say text here, let me just show you here on the browser. I have an email here, looks the same as this one, right? Yeah. So even if I put text here, it's going to show. I just did it and reload, and yeah, it shows. So why am I putting text here? I mean, why am I not putting text there and I'm putting email? Looks like there's no much difference. Actually, to your eye, there looks like there's no difference. But the fact is, when you put these types the way they are supposed to be, like now here I have done email, this one is text. We are going to have another way. We will have, let me actually do it, label, and then label, and then I'm going to say something like phone or mobile. All right, mobile number. My typing today is not great, so mobile number. And then here we have input type equals tel. You see, tel. Input, this is input type is tel. So let me go back here and refresh, and we have email, I mean full name, email, and tel. They all look the same to our eyes, but when you give these types, for instance, the email is going to check that the email that you have provided here is valid. So if you write an email that does not have something like the @sign, the @sign is this sign here. Like my email is geoffrey.kamunde@gmail.com, right? This is my email address. If I provide an email address that is not valid to this, like for instance, geoffrey.kamunde@gmail.com, this is not going to go through. If I try to save this, it's going to tell me, hey, the email you are providing is wrong. So this is what this does. So already that has been done for you. The checks have been done for you. The only thing you need to do is to give it a type of email. And then this one, if you need to check whether a mobile number is makes sense as a mobile number, you just provide tel. So that checks for a telephone number. Nice. You save it and reload, and you have that. Then there is one more thing that is missing to make our form complete, and that is a submit button. Okay. This again is not a self-closing tag, so you close it, and here you have submit. Now note that when I refresh this, the submit button shows, and actually it looks like it is sending this data. When I click it, the form is jumping. Well, this one you must not call it submit. You can actually call it something like send data or whatever you want to call it. But then there is something you need to do. Send data. That one shows. You need to tell this. If you wanted to actually submit this data, you need to pass something like type here and tell that this one is a submit button. Okay. So now when you refresh, looks like there's no difference again, but behind the scenes, this form is going to take the data that you type here and actually submit it to the action that you provide here using the method that you provide here. But for our case, we just need to see the structure. We are working on HTML, and when we get to the backend technologies where actually need to send this data, I'm going to be showing you how to send this data and actually maybe save it in your database. Okay, nice and perfect. So up to this point, I'll leave you to do your practice on forms. And by the way, I have a page here for HTML. You can just go online and Google HTML inputs, and here you have a number of them from W3 schools. You can check them, explore them, and see what each of them does. You can see we have the email here we used. We also have submit we used, telephone we used, and text we used. So check what the others do, and I will see you in the next section.